Ready.
Förra året så var det dubbelt rysk här faktiskt. Det var Anton Babikov som vann 10 sekunder före Maxim Tvetkov och Forkad han sköt 4 bom och föll från den första till den tredje. Pfeiffer var 4, Lesser var det 5 och sköt han felfritt i liggande. Hade 2 bom. Stående efter svensk klassen efter Samuelsson, 20:e plats. Här har vi Erik Svensson, är det någon här? Erik Lesser, we have one no starter, that's number 59, Genzi Kongo.
So just seconds to go before the start of the last race of the weekend. It's been a tremendous opening World Cup for the Biathlon Tour, and I think the sales of tickets in Hochfilzen will have gone through the roof after watching all the action up here this weekend. Here's the countdown. Tarje Bo will be the first away. 1 second advantage over Martin Fourcade. Eric Lesser goes at 4 and will want to try and close the gap quickly. Then a little gap back to Emil Hegler Svensson. And Svensson's been pretty consistent this season, so don't rule him out of a victory. That's a powerful start for Svensson. Chased by Simon Schemp and Mario Dolder. Number 7 is Fredrik Lindstrom. Rastagoyevs, who's super quick, going number 8. Johannes Kern goes for Germany. What an opportunity for him. And Jakob Fack starting number 10. Fack having to wait 34 seconds. 11 is Johannes Tingis, who goes at 36. Now, did Johannes Tingis jump the gun? Surely not.
Well, I was wondering if Eric Lesser did. I was just looking to see if we've had any penalties, but not as yet. They tend to do that, give us that information once they've all gone.
Julian Aberhart starts 21. He's got the individual world champion, Lowell Bailey, starting just behind him. And dancing out of the start gate is Lucas Offer. He's got quite a lot of ground to make up. He started at 54 seconds. Smith, Shapulin, Gow, Loganoff, Pfeiffer, Birkeland all the way in the first 30. And now it's almost a mass start. You might have picked up on Bjorndalen just starting number 31, missing out on World Cup points yesterday. But what was he, 5th Norwegian or 4th Norwegian? I think he might have been the 5th Norwegian yesterday.
He was, and there was a day not that long ago when 1 minute and 6 seconds Bjorndalen starting behind a lead time, you would believe he could get back onto the podium. Maybe not the case today.
Through the darkest part of the course, but you can still see that Bo, Fourcade, Lesser, the leading 3 all together. And what are we going to see? We had a demonstration in controlled biathlon by Denise Herman earlier on. I think they're going to struggle to contain themselves.
Well, there has to be an element of risk today. Of course, there's no spare rounds, but penalty loop for each target missed. 10 shots prone, followed by 10 shots standing.
Dolder and Lindstrom.
Lindstrom's not quite looking as sparkiest, his strongest form. It is early season, and he was only 17 seconds behind yesterday. That's good work from Eric Lesser to haul back 4 seconds. It's no mean feat when you look at the level these athletes are at. 4 seconds in a couple of 100 meters.
Tarje Bo started with a 13 advantage over Svensson, who's just rounding the corner. Certainly doesn't look to have closed the gap much. nothing between the leading three. This first shoot should sort them out. Fourcade will spend more time than anyone else in that group preparing. Now, what's Dolder managed to do in the opening kilometre and a half, almost 16 seconds he was, back to 20. Lindstrom's gone from 17 to 21, so most of the chasers giving away 3 or 4 seconds to that leading group.
I was just about to say, I'm surprised that that Tarja was going to lead all of this lap, but now it's Eric at the front. I thought Matan would go to the front. The three contrasting styles, Patrick, when they come to the range. Eric Lesser will build the position, have the first shot gone by 10.5 seconds. Matan will take 17 seconds, and Tarja probably somewhere in the middle. But it's about hitting the targets, and Matan really, over the last, what, 6-7 years, has been the man to hit the targets more than the rest.
Well, we had a little discussion about the risk and what you should take. You know, every athlete there has the perfect amount of time they spend on that preparation. Fourcade can afford to spend more time because he's generally quicker than anyone else. Lesser wouldn't have been on the podium if he hadn't shot so quickly. So it's a difficult one to argue. I don't know which way you fall, what you think the perfect time is for to get that first round away. It's
individual, it's what you train for, but if you ingrain this fast shooting like Eric has, it worked yesterday except one miss, and like Johannes Tingis missed 3 shots before he realized what he was doing. Once you're into that crazy fast rhythm, if it goes wrong, you can hardly stop yourself. So I think it cost him a podium yesterday, Johannes Tingis, to shoot so fast in that scenario and not have a break when you're missing the first 1 or 2 or 3, in fact.
Absolutely. Take your case with Johannes Tingis, but his brother, Tarja, won it because he shot quick on the standing shoot. He only had 0.7 of a second to play with. And I guess if you're not as quick as someone like Fourcade, you have to take the risks, but the more often you take the risk, the less of a risk it becomes.
You do build it, absolutely, but I'm quite sure Eric, if he keeps to that 10-second routine, we're going to see him missing some, in fact, sequences of more than 1 or 2 by the end of the season. Hopefully not today, though.
And as is so often the case, Martin Fourcade keen to lead the way in for shoot number 1, but they will not necessarily take the lane according. They take the lane according to their bib for the first shoot. No, they'll go to
no, filling the range from the right. On lane number 1. They went quite slow. They really backed their pace off into the lane, and I think Svensson's going to gain some time. In fact, there he is already. 13. He's gained just half a second.
Lesser definitely wasn't keen to go in lane 1, and I don't know why, because he's thrown the first one wide, well, as has Fourcade. So now a real opportunity for Tarja Bo. He'll be well aware of what is going on his left-hand side.
Well, look at Lesser. That's the problem with fast shooting. You can have a terrible day, and sadly for Lesser, that's today.
Fourcade misses number 1, Tarja Bo misses number 5, and Svensson and Dolder are going to be the first away. So all change already at the front of this pursuit, just the way we like it. Rastaguyev sits by Mike. He's done some great work on the range over the summer. We've never seen him shoot as well as this.
His coach, his Norwegian shooting coach, has done so much, not just for his shooting style and technique, but for his head, and it really has changed him. He's in 3rd position. Hope he can hold it all the way through. Well, Svensson, how good is that? Svensson at the front.
2 Bo brothers, 6 and 7. And Tarja giving away 10 seconds. No need to panic at this stage, as we saw from Herman. Sometimes it helps not to be the first into the range for the latter shoots in the competition. Mistakes from Samuelsson. Elisiev missing 2. Samuelsson, 3 laps to do, 450 meters, and that's about 3.5–4% added to his race distance, and at this level you cannot afford that. Arndt Pfeiffer, 28. Well, there you see the top 10, only 2 of them missing. Both of them were on the firing point in that first group of 3.
Svensson and Dolder sharing the lead. Dolder made a personal best yesterday with a 6th place. Rasmus will probably come up only 4 seconds. Lindstrom är 4 nu, 9 på Oestersund.
Come on! That's okay, come here, up!
Welcome back to Oestersund. It's been a long weekend, almost as exhausting watching it as competing. But I think we've still got a bit of excitement to come. The first shoot's been completed in the men's pursuit. Svensson, Rastagujev, Dolder are now 1, 2, 3, having started 4, 8 and 6. Big movers, Mike. I know a couple have gone down a long way. What about improving?
Improving Shipulin, one of the best, 25th to 13th. And Shipulin, we see so many times, he loves this race. And Schlesinger, good news for the Czech Republic. They need some good news. He's come up from 38th to 23rd. And of course, Julian Aberhart, 21st to 9th, hitting all 5.
And if some come up, some must be going down. Simon Schemp's gone all the way down from 5th. He dropped down outside the top 20. Oh, he dropped to 15th, but that's not as bad as Erik Lesser, who was on the range with the leading group of 3. He's now down in, what, 31, 32?
A real pity for Erik. He missed 4 out of 5. He didn't know what was going on. He had 3 shots down before he started thinking, shooting that fast, and that is the risk. So hopefully he can come back from that. And I think his best hope would be, what, a top 15 now, but he would have to hit the next 15 shots.
Here's our leading group of 3, and the chase group behind, containing Tariebo and Martin Fourcade. I think that must be Freddie Lindstrom with the chase group. It is in the yellow suit, and just behind them, Johannes Tingesbo, who's made good ground, 11th up to 7th, but he's now only 12 seconds behind, having started 34 off the pace. So he's got himself back in the running.
Ah, that's a great start from Johannes Tinges, and much more control today, you feel. And he's there. He's in contact almost with the lead group. Couldn't wish for a better start.
Fourcade was 9.9 behind, so I'm slightly surprised, Mike, that Martin Fourcade hasn't closed the gap on the leading group. That shows a change in tactics. Last year at the World Championships, certainly we would have seen the effort put in to get back up with the leaders.
He doesn't have his confidence, you know, when he's getting agitated on the start line, a little annoyed last night, and not engaging with the fun on the podium. It's a serious sport, and it's a serious business, and he loves winning.
Yeah, social media indicating that he was put out, to say the very least, by the fact that he lost. But in his press conference, he said, "Look, I've lost by 0.7. In fact, at the World Championships in Novo Mesto, I think Tariebo beat him by under a second as well. But he says, I've had plenty of victories where I've won by a similar margin."
Exactly. Well, that's good to hear.
So Rastagujev has gone for lane 1. We've got Svensson in 2, Dolder in the lane where Erik Lesser missed 4.
The Boer brothers side by side. I hope that doesn't put them off.
Didn't help the 2 Fourcade brothers earlier in the week. Johannes Tinges 2 down. We've got 1 miss again from Svensson. Dolder misses 1. An opportunity. Johannes Tinges throws 1 wide. Martin Fourcade and Tariebo are going back into the leading group after some good shooting. And all change again. Simoneida coming up through the rankings. Can he get 5? He's got 4. No, he throws number 5 wide. And this is what we're used to seeing in Oestersund.
It's strange, the flags don't look too much as if they're being influenced by the wind. It's changeable from the left, then a little bit from the front.
I've always thought the exit and entry is asking for trouble here, Mike. I sort of get the feeling that they should get those coming off the range, skiing back in the direction of travel before they come across the line of the athletes coming on.
It's weird. I mean, the athlete coming off the penalty loop in a hurry is blinded visually by the big boarding there. So yeah, there are a serious amount of near collisions. Of course, the team leaders meeting, everyone's briefed to be careful there. And allegedly, the exiting athlete has the advantage.
Or the right of way. Bjorndalen's got himself up to 15th from 31, so a gain of some 16 places for Bjorndalen. He was 106 behind, and if we get to see the second sheet, we'll just let you know what the margin is now. I think it's down to around 45 seconds. There it is, 45.8 for Ole-Einar Bjorndalen, and he's tucked in behind Arndt Pfeiffer, who's quite a good windshield. Fourcade certainly skiing a little bit harder than he did on the last loop. He's gained himself some 10 meters or so on Tarjei Bo, and Emil Hegle Svensson of Norway putting 2 Norwegians in the top 3. Mario Dolder's doing well. Freddie Lindstrom still in with a shout. Both prone shoots completed, and in terms of the French, I think the French will be happy, Mike, because if Fourcade makes mistakes, it tends to come on the prone shooting.
Yes, he's normally very sound, very stable in the stand, but he's not himself. He's not the real form that we see so often from Martin. This will give him confidence, though. He's opening this gap. It was 3.5. It's going to be slightly more now back to Tarjei.
And interesting, isn't it? Because he didn't push hard on the last loop, but suddenly he's found himself in the lead again. And that may be an indication that the lead group were pushing very hard to stay in front. But I think it's a good lesson to learn. Be patient, wait, make your move on the range. Through the 6.3 kilometer stage, the top 5 still only separated by 2.2 kilometers. Dolder and Julian Aberhart joins the 4. Now, he's had a tremendous run. He started number 21, and at the start of the race, he was 48 seconds behind. So great gains from Aberhart, and he's not far off the podium positions. Could well see him closing. He's a very, very tall figure, and signs already, Mike, that he's coming back into good shape.
Yeah, very much so. And just looking at shooting statistics here, we've from 17 who've passed through the second shoot, so 10 shots fired, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 have shot the perfect score. So not that many. There's a 7th and an 8th now down to 25th. So 8 out of 25, the perfect score so far.
And over the last 10 years, the average time in the sprint between position 1 and 60 has been 2 minutes 30, and sometimes it's 2:20, sometimes it's 2:40. Have we ever seen 1:47 as it was yesterday?
Occasionally, and the route holding course allows for those tighter finishes. Yeah, 1:55 to 2:10, but I think this is about as close as it's been for the top 60. And as Magdalena Forsberg said earlier, 27 athletes within 1 minute. That's also a record.
3.7 for Tarjei Bo to make up.
And I like the tightness of this field, Patrick. That's allowed Aberhart, as we said, 21st to 7th. Schipulin from 25th to 9th. So Schipulin and Aberhart have a chance of a podium from quite a long way back.
Now, any of these 5 in the chasing group who want to win have got to start assessing the risks that they're prepared to take in this third shoot. I suspect that Tadier Beau may get his first round away at a similar time to Martin Fourcade, despite the fact that he's 3.5, 4 seconds behind him.
Possibly. I did notice the last time in, Martin was as usual, first shot at 17 to 19 seconds, and Tarja has slowed his down. They know the importance now of not missing. You can't go too random. This is the sharp end, the serious part of the race.
Both men breathing very, very deep. There's not been a huge opportunity for recovery on these +0 temperatures, meaning that the snow, the base is obviously a little softer. It takes more energy out of the legs every time you go up the hill. A bit like running up sand dunes, although not quite as bad as that. Now,
well, I think they won't be shooting in 22, 23 seconds.
Fourcade's only missed 2 standing shots so far in the 2 individual races. Advantage Fourcade, and it's a big one. He's going to be at least 25 seconds clear because no one else has got a target down. The control of the world #1. Tarja in a bit of a meltdown now. That will settle the nerves getting the 3rd shot down, but he knows that he's going to be struggling to get on the podium. Svensson took his time before the first. 3 go down. Johannes Tingis misses 2 as well. Aberhart misses 2. Svensson with 2. It's going to be chaos on the penalty loop. Aberhart 3, and the margin's not going to be 25 seconds. It could be 1:25 by the time they all come out.
What a turnaround, what a difference. And Tarja Beau staying with the fast pace of Martin. That's what's put him out. He could not get his breathing under control.
Jakob Fack has made great ground. Simon Fourcade could find himself in the top 3. He hits 5 out of 5. Big psychological test for him coming up in 7-8 minutes time when he comes in for the final shoot. And look at the change on the leaderboard. Fionn Maillet goes into 2nd place. He started 12, and Jakob Fack of Slovenia has got himself from 10th up into 3rd.
And Simon Fourcade, there's a chance now, if he can hit another 5, may well get on the podium. That would be good to see the brothers on the podium.
Simon has never won. We've got, what have they got? 40 seconds to try and make up on Martin Fourcade. That's not going to happen on the tracks. And Martin can afford 2 misses on the penalty loop and still think in terms of winning. He can, if he misses 3, it's going to be close.
Well, who'd have thought Fionn Maillet coming up from 12th to 2nd after the 3rd shoot. Fack from 10th to 3rd.
Well, there you see the dramatic changes. Oh, sorry, that was just a little bit quick. I think worth pointing out, Schipulin and Hofer have gone from 23 and 25 up to 5 and 6. Great moves. Three races in, and it's going to be 3 races on the podium, it looks like, for Martin Fourcade. It could all go horribly wrong, but it's highly unlikely. Number 12, that is Quentin Fionn Maillet, and with Jakob Fack there and Simon Fourcade just behind, there is a chance that for the first time ever we're going to see a clean sweep of the podium by the French.
Not impossible, and it would be so good for Simon Fourcade to get up onto the podium. At the moment from 15th to 4th, and he did start an awful long way back, so it's a good race so far. 40 seconds he started behind, and now he's only a second, 6 seconds of 2nd place. Now Martin Fourcade, he's got a great advantage there. 40 seconds, as you say, he could afford 2 misses and potentially get round that penalty loop and still take the victory. I wonder what's going through his mind. And will he be thinking in the individual? He shot 0-0-0 and then missed 2 in the standing. But the way he's built his position, the way, the composure, the strength through the rifle was magnificent. First time in for the standing. If he does the same again, the race is his.
Johannes Tingis working hard and just about to go past Simon Fourcade, 57 behind still, but top 5 position for Johannes Tingis Beau. Hofer in 6th position, 103, and Hofer started at 54 seconds, so no gain in time, but he's gone from 23rd all the way up into 6th. And what happened to Tariebo, Mike, after those misses in the stand?
Tarrier, well, he's dropped down all the way to 18th.
Yeah, working his way back up through the field. He's got himself back up into 16th now, but 128 with a total of 4 shots missed. Anyone still clean? Simon Fourcade, the only man, I think.
The only man who's hit all 15 so far. And what about Eric Lesser? We saw him missing 4 first time. He was 31st. He's now fought his way back up to 12th, and he's missed 1 further target. That's fast skiing.
Now, just out of interest, if you may well have had a look at the record books, Jakub Fak, how many wins do you think he's had in his career?
Ooh, he's very good in the majors. Would think maybe 7, 8 at best.
8 exactly, yeah. I was slightly surprised it was so many, but 2 of those 8 in the pursuit. So he knows how to win in this event. Might not be so easy, but I think it will help him cope with this situation. He's lying in second, just ahead of Fillon Maillet, who looks as though he's digging very, very deep. Fak looks comfortable, but it may be deceiving. And then behind them, we've got Johannes Tingesbo, who's going to liven things up. Be interesting to see what Johannes can hit after pushing so hard on this lap.
The wonderful thing with Johannes Tingesbo is that he doesn't really know how to hold back. It's just all about push. Sometimes that's negative coming in for this last shoot. I hope he can pull it off.
Fourcade, 22 out of 26 races on the podium last year. If he gets 4, he'll still be on the podium. If he gets 5, it's going to be a win. And he'll have a first, a second and a third to his name after 3 races. His consistency is astonishing. One miss might unsettle the nerves. He's not looked like missing so far. 5 on the first stand, 5 on the second. The win is his. That was low left. He takes his time, well, doesn't quite salute the crowd. I think he's saying, now you know who's number 1.
Well, it means so much to Martin, and that's why he is so good. It's such a big part of his personality. There wasn't a smile, it was just saying, look, I am good.
Yeah,
he punishes himself, doesn't he? If he doesn't win, if he's off form, he really hurts himself mentally.
Yeah, maybe that's why he's a winner and many others aren't. But he said he was more relaxed this year than in previous years. I've seen no sign of that so far. Now, Fak for a very, very promising podium position. 5 will certainly see him into the top 3. Fillon Maillet and Johannes Tinges have both made a mistake, but so has Fak. And 1 miss, it seems to be... oh, Johannes Tinges has got work to do again. He fired that. I'm not sure he even lined up for that last shot. 3 penalty loops. He's out of the running this time. He can't recover from that. Schapulin and Hoffer. Well, Schapulin now and Simon Fourcade with a chance of going on the podium, but they've thrown it. Oh, dreadful shooting after such a good start to the week where it seemed no one could miss. Now we're starting to see the tension of a head-to-head race. And this is, Mike, why I would argue that the mass start and the pursuits are the real test of a biathlete.
It is a real test. You're side by side, but isn't it great how Martin Fourcade can manage all of the stress, all of the physical, trying to get his breathing under control and still hit the targets.
Are we going to see any changes between 2 and 5? Svensson has done well. Birkeland and Lindstrom. And Svensson, what's the margin there? 10 seconds to make up. Well, we know that that is possible. We know it's possible, but you have to pick your moment. Probably leave your charge for the last 800-900 metres. Fourcade, Fillon Maillet, Fak, looking as though they're going to take the podium positions. This man is on a cruise home. He's got, what, 150 metres between himself. He's got 1 minute and 5 seconds to spare.
Well, this is where Fourcade is the best. He builds his position. It's lock solid all the time. And he doesn't rush. He can afford not to rush. He's got a big lead, but he's still under the same pressure, if not more, than the rest of the field. Svensson, Patrick, has only 13 seconds to gain, and he's in good skiing form to get up to the podium.
Fillon Maillet and Fak, I think, have already started playing a cat and mouse game, thinking that It's going to be a sprint between those two. Lindstrom's quick, Mike. He came out of the range a second ahead of Svensson, so be interesting to see. We'll get a split at 11.3. Fourcade, I suspect, is now at around 55 seconds clear. He's not in a rush at this stage. He came out, remember, with 1:05 to spare. There's the chasing group, Mike. It's still quite a margin, 50 meters or so. Lindstrom doing the donkey work. Svensson. And behind Svensson is Birkeland of Norway. Good run from him. Not so often we see him up the front of the field in a pursuit.
It's not, and it's been a tough journey for Birkeland from 29th up to 4th. He's only missed one shot like Fourcade.
Will he look to his right? Yes. Yeah, he gives one of...
probably his brother, he's saying, come on.
Yeah, he may well be, because Simon Fourcade was at 1:24 just going through, just behind Svensson. Yeah, these two have gone into overdrive now. I think that's going to make it very, very difficult for the chasers to catch them. Lindstrom's not closing the gap at all. Fionn Maillet, it is ahead of Jakob Fak. Where's your money? I think I'd fancy Fak to take the win in that little battle.
It's interesting. I'm not sure. I mean, Fionn Maillet is tired. Of course, he came second in the individual. Fak is not on his best form. It's a tough one to call. It's really who comes out with the best strategy. Martin just looked like stumbling a little on the left-hander. He doesn't need to be in a hurry anymore. He's got a minute. I think in terms of outright sprinting, if they're together in the last 100, I think I would opt for the Frenchman at the moment.
Fionn Maillet, he's got, what, 6 podium finishes in his career. He's never finished on the top step. 3 times in second, 3 times in third. One of those is going to become 4. Jakob Fak, as we mentioned, 8 wins to his name, and he's had 21 podium finishes, so he's the more experienced of the two. Now they need to be just a little bit wary, because Svensson has taken over the donkey work in the second of the chase groups, and certainly the gap has come down, but it's still sizable. Wow, luxury is a long, easy ski to a World Cup victory, and that is exactly what Martin Fourcade has had. 19 hits out of 20. Jakob Fak looks as though he's about to make a move, but he's gone on the outside, so I'm not sure he's going to get through. He may do now, because that's a devastating turn of pace from Jakob Fak. 3 or 4 meters opened up on Fionn Maillet. Now the Frenchman needs to get in the slipstream, and down in the stadium, the champion, 6 times overall World Cup champion, Martin Fourcade, notches up yet another win, moves on to 69. He could be on 80 come the end of this season.
And he barely looks out of breath. Great move from Jakob there. He realised where he had to go. He doesn't have the absolute sprint on the finish, but Fionn Maillet coming back a little.
I think the gap just too big for Fionn Maillet, but he's going to have to get some rapid free skiing in. Here we go. I think Fak thinks he's got this one in the bag. He has a look over his shoulder to see that the Frenchman is still there, but no panic. Jakob Fak, great result. He'll be delighted with that. Second place, having started in 10th, and Fionn Maillet started 12th, got himself up to 3rd. Svensson looks as though he's going to get 4. He does. Freddie Lindstrom, very respectable 5 for the Swede. The best of the Swedish performances so far this week. And Birkeland, a punch of the fist, because 6th place for him is excellent. Only 58 down on the race winner. Julian Aberhart, Mike, we pinged his progress early on, but to come all the way up through the ranks, 21 to 7, so really good run, and he's taken Anton Shapulin with him. Shapulin started in 25.
Well done, Martin Fourcade. He held his nerve. There was a lot of pressure on that race today, and he certainly didn't find it easy in the first half, and then he found his old magic in the second half of the race.
The Beau brothers, well, they've been the toast of the town over the last 4 days, having got a victory each, but today, between them, they miss a total of 12 targets, 6 apiece, and that's why they don't feature in the top 10. Johannes Ting is down in 13. Tarja Beau, I think, is going to finish outside the top. Well, here he comes, number 1, finishing number 19 behind Uliana Bjorndalen. Bjorndalen's shooting 18 out of 20, 31 to 18. It's not bad, but when you've got as many World Cup wins as he has. 18th position doesn't sound too glamorous. Morovitz 22, Svetkov 23rd, starting 50, moving all the way up into 24 is Prima of Ukraine. That's a good run. Dole, sprint world champion, down in 26. Dolder, who featured early on, now he must have missed a massive targets in the closing stages of the race. He did. He's got a total of 6 misses.
He started so well. His prone is good at 91%, his stand 67, and that's going to be sadly dropping a little after today's event. Benny Vega, 18th, he's dropped down all the way to 31st. 5 targets missed. Samuelsson, at least he's moved up from 36th to 30th. Very talented 21-year-old.
Forty of the 60 athletes across the line, 30-12 the winning time. Just looking at the results here last year, Babikov, of course, it was who won. 31-22 was the winning time, with only 1 target missed. It's not so often we see Martin Fourcade shoot clear in the pursuits and the mass starts, but with his strength, his ski speed, doesn't necessarily have to.
I think that's his gain, isn't it? He has the strength, the ski speed to maybe not be quite as fatigued, needing to gasp the oxygen in as much as some of the others. And he takes his time, he just takes it easy, builds his position strong. And he never allows mistakes. Again, it's this hurried shooting that, of course it works, it's great, but he's built this wonderful routine where he just never breaks to fast shooting unless it's a relay. And then he gets 3 spare chances with the spare rounds. The Canadians today, just the Gow brothers, very good job yesterday. Christian from 26th all the way up to 21st, missing just 1, equal best shot of the day.
The French, with 3 in the top 9, are certainly going to be looking forward to the first relay of the season. As we mentioned, heading down to Hochfilzen for the next round of World Cup racing, and then on to Annecy. The programme for next week, we've got a sprint on the Friday, 2 sprints on the Friday, 2 pursuits on the Saturday, and then the first of the relays on Sunday. So then we'll find out just how good the French are, but they certainly should be able to give the Norwegians, the Germans, the Russians a run for their money.
Vi fick in Leitner, österrikaren, som 55:e man. Vi har kvar där ute, det är inte så väldigt många nu.
Je savais pas, il y a des fois, je savais pas si c'était toi aussi. Mais je fais 8 pénales, moi. Je fais 55. Je fais tout comment 2, 1, 2, 3. J'ai bien senti qu'aujourd'hui il fallait jouer parce que Caral est là. C'est la mousse. T'as les amendes des plats. On n'a pas de place dans le bus des techniciens.
Ladies and gentlemen, very welcome to the prize-giving ceremony for the BMW IBU World Cup Biathlon in Östersund, Sweden. The men 12.5 kilometer pursuit start. The medals and flowers will be awarded by the IBU Vice President from Sweden, Mr. Olle Dahlin. The gifts from the organizing committee will be awarded by the chairman of Biathlon events in Oestersund, Mr. Gunnar Olofsson. First place and winner from France, Martin Fourcade. Second place from Slovenia, continue. At fourth place from Norway, Emil Hegle Svensson.